Welcome back everyone. In this video, I will discuss how to fetch the state data from server and display it in our Flutter app. This is the output which we are trying to achieve. A list of state has been displayed. Now whenever I will select the item, that particular item will be highlighted. After selecting the state, if I click on this floating action button, then that particular state ID will be saved to the local storage and we will move to the city route. Okay. Now let me move to the Splash controller. In Splash controller, I have made some changes. Here in the get storage key, instead of using customer first name, customer last name, I have changed it to user first name, user last name, user profile image, user email, user status, user mobile. This thing I have changed. Correct. Now in the app routes, here I have created a route that is state route. Now corresponding to this state route in app pages, here you can see that state view will be called and the corresponding state binding will be called. Here inside the modules folder, I have created a state folder where I have created three files: state binding, state controller and state view. If I go to the state binding, then here I have used get.lazyPut, then I have used state controller, and in the constructor of the state controller I have passed state repository, and in the state repository I have passed my API provider. Now if I go to the repository, then you can see here I have created a file state repository.dart. In this repository I have created a function that is getState, which is taking the page number, because I discussed while creating the API for the state, I will get the data in a paginated fashion. That's why it is taking the page number. And this getState function is actually calling the getState function which I have created inside the my API provider. Now let me move to my API provider. Here I have created that getState function which is taking the page number, and its return type is future of state model. Now inside the model folder, here I have created the state model. Now here I have used final response equals to await dir.get, after that get state, and after that I am passing the page number. Then I have used the state model from JSON and I am returning the value. Correct. And to check the internet connectivity, in the pubspec.yaml file I have taken this particular package, that is internet connection checker. And in the modules folder I have created a network folder where I have created two files, network binding and network controller. If I go to network binding, then you can see here I have used get.put and here I have used network controller. Let me move to network controller. Inside this network controller, which is extending the GetX controller, here I have created a connection status variable having the initial value as 0, and I have made it reactive with the help of .obs. Then here I have used stream subscription of internet connection status, and in the onInit method, in the on status change of internet connection checker, I am listening, and based on the status I am returning the value as connection status dot value equals to 1. This means if the internet is connected, then the value of this connection status will be 1, and if it is disconnected, then the value of the connection status will be 0. And in the on close method, here I have cancelled the listener. Fine. And in the main.dart file, here I have called network binding dot dependencies. Fine. Now let me move to state controller. In the state controller, here I have imported the state model and I have given the alias name as S. Now here I need to write the code to fetch the data from the server, and to do that, here in the state controller class which is extending the GetX controller, here I will use with state mixin. Now if you don't know about state mixin, then you can refer to my GetX playlist. Inside this inside this state mixin, here I will pass list of s.state. Okay, now here I need to create the instance of get storage. Get storage, correct. Now here I need to create list of s.state equals to, let me give its name as lst state and let me initialize it with empty array. Now here I will declare a variable integer page equals to 1. This means initially when the state data will load, I will display the details from the page 1, and whenever the user will scroll, then I will increment the value of page by 1. This means I will implement the pagination also. And here I will declare one more variable, that is total page, and let me initialize its value with 1, correct. Now here I will use network controller, and here I will call get.find method, and in the get.find method I want to find out which controller. I want to find network controller. Now to do the pagination, here I will use scroll controller. Like this, I will create the instance of scroll controller. Now as I told you that whenever the user will select any item here, then that particular item will be highlighted, and after selecting the item, whenever this floating action button will be clicked, then the ID of that particular state I need to save in get storage. To implement that, here what I will do is that I will create a variable, let it be selected index, and let me initialize its value with 0 minus 1. This means ultimately minus 1, correct. And here I will use s.state, and let me give its value as state model, like this. And here I will declare one more variable, let integer of selected state ID, and let me put a semicolon here. Now inside the onInit method, what I will do is that here I will write selected state ID equals to get storage dot read, then I will call get storage key dot state ID. Fine. Now for the first time when I will launch the application, at that time the state ID is not saved in get storage. Fine. And so it will be null. So what I will do is that here I will use this. This means if the value of the state ID is null, then the value of this selected state ID variable will be 0, correct. In the onReady method, here I will create a function getState. That function I need to create. This particular function will retrieve the data from the server. This means this function will hit the API, and the API will get the data from the database, correct. And to perform pagination, here I will call one more method, that is Paginate State. And inside the onClose method, here I will dispose the scroll controller. Now let me go to create the function void getState. Let me declare this method as async. Sorry. Now here I need to use try catch. fine. And whenever exception will occur, then here I need to call the change, and inside change here I will pass null, and in status I will pass rx status dot error, and here I need to pass app string dot something went wrong. Correct. And inside this try block I need to again call change, again I need to pass null, status, this time I will pass the status as rx status dot loading. Correct. Now I need to call state repository dot, after that the get state function I will pass page, then now here I need to write the code. Here I will check if value dot result. Now from where I am getting this result, for that you need to check out my video for creating the Laravel API for state, city and area. If it is equals to success, if its value is success, then what will happen? At that time I need to check if value dot state data dot data of is not empty. This means if we are getting data, then what will happen? And if we are not getting data, then what will happen? If we are not getting data, then again I will copy this. This means I will again call the change method, and this time the status of rx status of it will be empty. Fine. But if the if portion executes, then here I will call total page equals to value dot state data dot last page. Correct. Now here I will call lst state dot clear. I will clear the list. Then again I will call lst state dot add all, and in the add all here I will pass the data which we are getting from the server, that is value dot state data dot data. Correct. And after that again I need to call the change method, and while calling this change method, now instead of null here I need to pass the actual data, that is lst state, and instead of empty here I will pass rx status dot success. Now in this if the value dot result is success, then these things will execute. But if else if value dot result, if it is equals to error, if certain kind of error occurs, then again I need to copy this, paste it here. Here I will pass null, and in status I will pass rx dot error, and here I will pass the error message which we are getting from the server. So I will pass value dot message. Correct. Now after this here I will call on error, which will take error, and here again I will call this change with value as null and status as rx status dot error, and here I will pass app string dot something went wrong. Now let me put a semicolon here. So I have created this get state function. Now I need to create one more function, that is Paginate State. Correct. So here I will call, or I will create Paginate State. Now inside this method I will use scroll controller dot add listener, and here I need to check if scroll controller dot position dot max scroll content is equals to scroll controller dot position dot pixels. This means this line is actually checking whether we have reached at the bottom of the page or not. If we have reached at the bottom of the page, then I will check if page is less than equals to total page, then I need to increment the value of page by 1. So I am writing page plus plus, and I will call a function get more state. This means again I need to hit the API to get more data based on the page from the server, and here I need to put a semicolon. Fine. Now I need to create this get more state function as well. So again void get more state, this function I need to create. Now whenever this function will be called, at that time we need to show a loader. So first of all I need to use try catch. Now inside this try block, first of all I need to call get.dialog. This means I need to display a progress bar actually whenever the get more state function will be called. So I am calling get.dialog. After that here I am using a widget, that is column widget, and inside this column widget I will use children. But before using this, here I need to use main axis size as main axis size dot min, and I will use main axis alignment as main axis alignment dot end. Correct. Now in children, here I will use spin kit 3 bounds and here I need to specify the size, which I will give as 20, and in the color I will check if get dot is dark mode. If it is in dark mode, then the color will be app color dot yellow, else it will be app color dot deep purple accent color, and here I will put a semicolon. Correct. Now in the catch block, here what I will do, I will call get dot back, and I need to use custom snack bar to display the message. Custom snack bar dot show error snack bar. In the context I will pass get dot context. In title I will use app string dot error, and in message I will use app string dot something went wrong. Fine. So this is catch block. Now in the try block, let me move again to the try block. Now after displaying this dialog, again I need to use state repository, and after that again I will call get state. I will pass the page dot, then now here again I need to write the code. Now first of all, after getting the response, I need to call the get dot back method to hide that particular progress bar. Now again here I will check if value dot result, if it is equals to if it is success, then what will happen, and if value dot result, if it is equals to error, then what will happen. Fine. Now if the value dot result is error, then let me copy this and paste it here, and here I will display the message which we are getting from the server, that is value dot message. Correct. But if it is success, then here I will write if value dot state data dot data, if it is not empty, means if we are getting data, then what will happen, and if we are not getting data, then we need to display a message to the user that no more data is available. For that, here I am using Flutter toast dot show toast. In the message I will pass app string dot no more items. Correct. Here I can pass some more parameters like toast length. In the toast length I will pass toast dot length sort. Then I can pass gravity. In gravity I will write toast gravity dot by bottom. This means where the toast will be displayed. Correct. Then text color. In the text color I will pass app color dot white color, and I need to specify font size. Let me give it as 16.0. And from where I am getting this Flutter toast, for that in the pubspec.yml file I have taken this Flutter toast plugin. Correct. So if no more data is available, this else portion will execute and it will display a toast that no more data is available. But if data is available, then here I will call lst state dot add all, and here value dot state data dot data. This means whatever data we are getting from the server, that we will add to the lst state. And after adding, I need to call the change method. In the change method again I will pass lst state, and in status I will pass rx status dot success. Correct. Let me put a semicolon here. Now here I need to use on error, which will take error, and here again I will use this custom snack bar to display the message. Let me paste it here. Fine. So this is the get more state function to retrieve more data from the server. Correct. Now this code will be inside the catch block. I need to write it here. Fine. Now after this I need to create one more function which will save the data to the local storage, because I told you that whenever the user will, after selecting the item, whenever the user will click on this button, then the selected state ID must be saved to the local storage and we should move to the city route. Okay. To do that, here I will call one more function, that is save selected state. Correct. Now inside this function I will write if state model. Now if you remember, here I have created the object of state model. As you can see here, this I have created here. Correct. So first of all, here I will check if state model, if it is not equals to null. So initially its value will be null. Correct. So if it is not null, then what will happen? And if it is null, then what will happen? If it is null, then what I will do, I will display a custom snack bar with the message app string dot select state. Okay. So initially this state model value is null. This means without selecting the state, if the user is clicking on this floating action button, then the value of state model will be null. So this else portion will execute and it will display a message, please select an state. But if the user has selected the state, this means if the user has tabbed any item here, then the value of this state model will not be null, and in that case In that case, here I will write selected state ID what is the variable name which I have created here? Yes, it is selected state ID. The spelling is wrong. Let me change it to selected state ID here. It will also be selected state ID. Now selected state ID equals to state model dot, from here I will get the state ID, correct. And after that, what I will do, I will save that state ID to the local storage, and to do that, here I will call get storage dot write, then get storage key dot, I need to call state ID, and in the value I will pass this selected ID, correct. And after doing this, I need to move to the city route. So here I will call get dot to named, then routes dot city, something like this I need to call to move to the city route. And here we need to do one more thing in the splash controller. If I move here, then if the user ID exists and if the user has not selected the state, then I need to move to the state route. Similarly, in the else portion, means if the user is logging for the first time, then also if the user has not selected the state, this means if it is null, then I need to move to the state route. Fine. So this is how we can create the function to fetch the data from the server and to paginate the data. In the next video, I will discuss how to create this particular UI. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you so much for watching.